Welcome everybody to this Consumer Guide special report, how to sell your boat fast for top dollar, the Jacksonville, Florida edition. I'm super excited for our guest expert today, Barton Holmes. He has 25 years experience in selling boats and brokering boats in the Northeast Florida area. He's the only certified professional yacht broker in the Northeast Florida area, has done hundreds of boat sales, tens of millions of dollars. And he is a specialty is powerboat segment, and we're really fortunate to have him as our guest today. Barton, thanks for joining us, and thanks for sharing your insights with everybody that's listening out there.
Hi, Matt. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very good. Well, let's go ahead and just jump right in. One of the first things I want to cover is, what are some of the ways people can go about selling their boat? They're looking to get out of boating or trade into something new. What options do they have out there?
Well, Matt, really there are three options for buyers. You can sell the boats yourself. You can put the boat online in places like Boat Trader, Craigslist, and there are a few other places, but Boat Trader is the number one place. You can trade the boat into the dealer if you know what the next boat is that you want, and there's a dealer in town that sells it and will take your trade. You could trade the boat in, or you could come to somebody like me or the dealership, and we could either broker the sale of the boat for you, or we could take it in on consignment.
Now, what are some of the benefits of each of these options, and the cons as well?
Yeah, well, selling the boat yourself, obviously there's less expense because there's no commission you're paying to an individual like me, a professional, to get the boat done. So you have that, that advantage. The downside to selling the boat yourself is you see what I see on a regular basis, that you've got a lot of tire kickers, a lot of lookers, not as many buyers, and it can be somewhat intimidating. Obviously, getting the boat out there in the right marketplace is the best thing you can do, the right move. But it also means you're going to end up getting some people that are just looky-loos and are not really buying. As far as trading the boat on the next boat, obviously you've got the sales tax advantage there, and it takes the boat and puts it in the dealer's hands right away, so you can kind of wipe your hands of it and move on to the next boat and get out on the water and have a great time. And you do get the sales tax credit also, which is another advantage of the trade-in. Obviously on a trade-in, you're not going to be getting full retail for the boat like you would if you sold it yourself, but you're not going to have the hassle either. So that's another big advantage. As far as brokering the boat or consigning the boat, similar to trading it in, where you don't have to do the work. You have a professional do the work. We market the boat. We get it out into the right places, into markets that you as a seller wouldn't necessarily have, Yacht World being one of those. And we do all the work. We make sure the person's qualified. We show the boat to them. We do all the contractual work. We collect deposits. We do the survey. We attend the survey, make sure that everything is properly prepared for survey. And then if the deal goes through and everything moves to close, then we make sure, very important, make sure that the boat does not have if you're selling the boat, you want to make sure that the mortgage gets paid off, and that's what we would handle, making sure that the bank sends out the payoff letter, and we would make the payoff for you on the boat, and there'd be a commission paid, and any residual amount would go back to you. So we take the effort and hassle out of selling the boat, and there's a small fee paid for that, but there's a huge convenience of having somebody else do that.
And you just went through a litany of different things that probably as a boat owner, you may not even realize that, oh my gosh, they're going to do a survey on the boat, and I've got to get all that coordinated, and the financing and all the paperwork. And yeah, there's a lot to it that we're going to go through here over the next couple of minutes. So that's a great start to the conversation. Now, what are some things people can do before they sell? They say, hey, you know what? We're going to take a chance, and we're going to try to sell it ourselves. We're willing to put the effort in, and we want to get top dollar for it, but we want to sell it pretty fast. What are some things they can do before they sell the boat?
Absolutely. This is the most important thing. Having the boat ready to sell before people come to see it is extremely important. I am with used boat buyers all the time, and the number one complaint I hear when they're out looking at boats is that when they get to the boat, it just does not show well. So it's extremely important that you have the boat detailed, not just washing the boat. Quite often you want to have the boat professionally detailed, compounded and waxed by a professional operation that's going to do a proper job to make that boat look as great as it possibly can. It will pay huge dividends to you to make sure that you've had that boat properly prepared. Any personal gear that's on the boat that's not going with the boat, get it off the boat, declutter the boat. It's very important that they can see themselves in the boat, and not having all that extra gear that really is could be tossed or is not included with the boat. It should be removed. It's the ideal situation. If there are cosmetic issues with the boat that go beyond detailing, you should look at having those done. Maybe small gel coat repairs. You know, you want to put your best foot forward. You know, the first look that they have at the boat is extremely important. You want to make sure that the service is up to date. Ideally, you want to make a boat that's turnkey for a customer. You don't want them to have to start thinking about, well, I need to go and have this done and this done and this done before I can even get out of the water and really use the boat. So look at your service records, pull them together, have them ready so that you can show them to this prospective buyer. They'll be impressed with that. Far too many sellers do not have that paperwork together. If you come up with a binder that has all of those records in it already, and they open it up and can take a look at all the service record, all the service you've done to the boat, they'll be very impressed. And you want to make sure that the boat is ready to go to market. That if it's been a while since you've run the boat, you want to go out and run the boat, test the systems, make sure that you're ready to have somebody come aboard your boat and take a look around. And for gosh sakes, you want to make sure that before you take a test ride with somebody, that you've run that boat and you know that that boat is ready to go. If it's been 3, 4, 5 weeks since you've run the boat, you certainly, before they get there to run the boat with you, you want to make sure in advance of that, maybe a day or two, that the boat is ready to go. It's the worst thing you could have happen is have them arrive there and you get out and the boat doesn't perform, because they will never come back.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the highlights.
With all your decades of expertise and tens of millions of dollars of sales, you can attest to the fact, I'm sure, that the sales price you're able to garner from a boat that looks great and standing tall from the very first time they walk down the dock and they lay their eyes on it, a smooth running sea trial, you're going to have a better experience, because the used boat buyer, the pre-owned boat buyer, has a lot of fear that they're going to be buying somebody else's trouble, buying somebody else's headache. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why there'll generally always be some sort of inspection of the boat. Very seldom will a buyer be able to get insurance on a boat if they haven't had some sort of survey done. So the boat will likely be surveyed, and that's helping the buyer become more comfortable with buying this used product, this used boat. There are all sorts of scary stories online, horror stories about people buying boats, not doing their due diligence, and ended up buying somebody else's problems. And you want them to feel comfortable with the product, and you want them to feel comfortable with you, that you're sincere with them, and when they ask you a question, you answer the question, and even if the answer is maybe not ideal, that you're honest with them and straightforward, and they will appreciate that. If you can build a relationship with them in that sales process, it's very important that they feel comfortable with the boat and with you as a seller for the boat.
Yeah, reducing that level of fear. So now, okay, so you've got it looking great. You've had it professionally detailed. You've run all the systems. Everything's been worked. And what are the next steps? You're ready to sell. Where do you go?
Well, the next thing to do is to figure out what the value is in the marketplace. The most important thing is making sure that you're priced properly, that you don't overprice the boat. You need to kind of put on your buyer's cap when you're selling a boat. If you were the buyer of this boat, how would you search for it? How does it compare to other boats, similar boats in the marketplace? Just because you think it may be worth X number of dollars, if you go in the marketplace and everybody else is thousands of below you, the chances are not good that you're going to get the money you want out of the boat, and it's going to take much longer to sell the boat. There's a market value for your boat, and you need to properly identify what that value is, so that you can sell the boat in less time rather than more time. You want to also, marketing it online is the only place to go. Boat Trader, ideal location for the individual selling their boat. That's the best possible place you can put the boat. You want to have the boat clean, decluttered, and then take lots of pictures, lots and lots of pictures. Typically on a listing that I would do, if it's a larger boat, it's going to have at least 100 pictures, 120 pictures. On a smaller boat, it may be 30. 35, something like that. So you want to have more rather than less pictures on the boat. You want them to feel that they've already been on the boat before they get there. And you want the pictures to be representative of what the boat is. So when they get there, they feel like, yes, this is exactly how you represented it online, and it makes them feel much more comfortable. Yeah, it's vitally important that you make sure that the boat holds up when they get there. Videoing the boat, video is king right now. Everybody likes to see a video, do a walk around. It doesn't have to be professional. Just walk around the boat and give comments, show them the engine space, show them inside the boat, depending on how big the boat is. Just do a nice generic walk around, and it gives them a better comfort level with the boat. And then obviously getting the boat online, getting it out there in the marketplace. As I've already said, Boat Trader is by far the most important site to have it on. There are lesser sites that you can go out and find, but if I were doing one, it would be Boat Trader. A lot of people like to put it on Craigslist, to put the boats on Craigslist. Some will do eBay. I've tried both of those, and I've had pretty good success. As most people understand, Craigslist has some downsides that you can get a lot of people who are not serious about buying boats, and they're very apprehensive to sometimes to put things in Craigslist, especially higher value things in Craigslist. That's why Boat Trader it's a professional site. It's where boat buyers go to look for boats and to search for the right boat.
Yeah, a couple things that you touched on, Barton, that I think are real key is pricing properly, and not just going out and looking. Okay, there's 5 similar boats listed, and the highest one is 150,000. So mine's super clean. I'm going to list it at 160,000. And there's kind of an art and a science to that. How do you, as a professional, with all of your experience, how do you to help guide people when you're working with them?
Yeah, so if we have a situation where we're going to take a boat as a consignment or a listing, a brokerage listing, we have access to sites that, such as Yacht World, that the general public does not. It's a multiple listing system for the brokerage industry, for the marine brokerage industry. And part of that is called soldboats.com, and Soldboats gives brokers access to sales comparisons. Every boat that is sold out of Yacht World, the sale price of that has to be recorded when the boat is shown as sold at the website. And then that gives us that database of products, so we can go back in and look over the last 12 months. What is this particular model in this year range? What have these boats been selling for? And then you can compare and contrast options and hours and engine packages and get a much better sense of what the boat is likely to bring. Obviously, that is a sale price. There's the asking price, and then there's the sale price. You've got to allow yourself some room in there for people to negotiate. Nobody wants to pay your asking price. Even as great as your asking price may be, nobody wants to pay asking price. Yep. Have some room for negotiation. Very good. And the other thing, it touches on a couple of things. Is one, it touches on your integrity as a professional in the industry, but also just the building the trust with the prospect and the people looking to buy the boat. You said give an accurate representation with the pictures and video. Talk a little bit about that, if you would, Barton. Yeah, one of the questions I get all the time, and I'm always amazed when I hear it when I'm out showing a brokerage boat or a used boat, is when they first contact me, have you ever seen the boat? So, being extremely familiar with what you're selling is important. When we're taking in a boat to list, we want to know the history on the boat, and that's what the buying public wants to know. They want to know how long has the owner owned the boat? What's the maintenance history on the boat? What have they done with with the boat? Why are they selling the boat? You want to build a rapport or relationship with that individual so that they trust what you're telling them is true and accurate, and it needs to be. So as a broker, I'm always gathering that information from a seller. If it's on a larger boat and they've done cruising, then where did you cruise the boat? Let's talk about how you enjoyed the boat so that I can share those experiences with the prospective buyer, because most people buy boats for similar reasons. If it's a fishing style boat, they want to take it offshore and go fishing. Did they go to the Bahamas? How many times they've been offshore? The Keys, those sort of things. If it's a cruising boat, where did they cruise it? What did they do with it? And it gets people excited about it, and it shows the capabilities of the boat. And it also helps build that rapport with that buyer, which is extremely important, that they feel that this is somebody that I would like to buy a boat from. That we can have a good conversation and that we speak candidly to one another, because you need to get them to open up to you, and to do that, you need to open up a little bit to them. Yeah.
And as a seller, all of that builds that trust, so that when you do tell them the history of the boat, they actually believe you. And you're not holding it back, whether you're an individual private seller or whether you have a professional representing you. Any warnings or kind of, hey, here's some things to think about if you are looking to sell on your own?
Yeah, well, one of the first things is the idea that they've come to see a boat and they expect to go for a boat ride. I can tell you that at our dealership, virtually nobody goes for a boat ride when they walk up to see a boat. Hey, let's go run this boat. It just doesn't work that way. There needs to be more of a meeting of minds when it comes to what their needs are, what their price point is, what they're willing to pay for the boat. And sometimes I know with us, sometimes you want to make sure that you've test run the boat before you take somebody out in it. Going back to what we said, make sure that the boat's ready to be run. So that's something with working with a professional, that is always the case. There are never any boat rides given. So you want to be careful of that when trying to sell the boat yourself, that you don't want to end up giving a bunch of boat rides to people who are not serious buyers. So that generally, if your boat is on a trailer, my words of wisdom are, don't put it in the water for them. Show it to them on the trailer, not at a boat ramp, and have them come to a neutral place or something, and have them look at that, so that there's not that, well, let's go for a quick ride. There's plenty of time for that during the inspection of the boat, the survey of the boat, to do a boat ride. Now with the internet and printers and computers, you have to be very careful about how you take payment for your boat. Cashier's checks have become a very difficult thing to take, because they're so easily copied and done very professionally. So if you're selling the boat yourself, as far as payment goes, the ideal is a wire transfer. Sometimes that's just not possible. If you're going to take a cashier's check, you want to get a copy of it in advance. You want to call the bank that it's written on, and you want to verify that that's a good check, that they did in fact issue that check. And if you do that, the chances are very, very high that that's a legitimate check. There are all sorts of scams that you see, and a lot of this comes from overseas, where people say, well, I don't even need to come see the boat. I'm going to pay your asking price and a little bit more, because I need for you to help me with a couple of things. And then they send you this check that's more, and they say, well, you can keep this amount and then send this amount over to here because I'm going to buy a trailer or something. Those are virtually always a scam. I would never accept that. That check will eventually likely come back as a bogus check. So don't do that. That can be very difficult to deal with. Buyers that are coming in from out of the area, that's not going to be uncommon. There are the chances are relatively high that somebody might be from outside of your area, might come in and be the buyer for the boat. You just need to do your due diligence with them. You certainly, if you work a deal with them, you need to make sure that you're getting a copy of their driver's license. If they're going to give you a deposit check, make sure that check clears the bank before you let them take any sort of possession of the boat down the road. You want to verify that those funds are real and in your account, before you let the boat go and you sign the title over.
I think kind of the overriding sentiment that I hear you talking about, Barton, is just keep your does this feel right to me? Antenna up. You know, if you're listing the boat on Craigslist, you can be almost assured to get an email from somebody in Nigeria offering the check scam like you talked about, or you know, something weird. And just keep your eyes and ears open to the possibility that hey, I want to make sure that as a seller, I'm not taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy, and everybody's gotten so gun shy now about, you know, is this guy for real? Is he not for real? If it seems like it's too good to be true, then you need to be very, very cautious about it.
Yeah, very good. And the other one that I hear as I do these interviews is, as it relates to the boat ride, is people that schedule, hey, we're going to come look at the boat, and then they never show up, just taking up another Saturday or Sunday afternoon from you. That's another consistent one. So, well, let's kind of recap of what we covered here so far, and any other things that pop to your head.
Yeah, well, obviously there, you know, you've got the three ways of selling the boat. You know, either yourself as a trade-in or through a broker or consignment. You know, making sure that boat is ready to go to market, doing your due diligence as a seller, so that you impress people when they come to see the boat. You know, if they go and see 4 or 5 boats, you want them to remember your boat as being the cleanest in the bunch. They'll see a lot of mediocrity out there, so make it stand out from the you know, from the crowd. And you know, making sure that the boat is ready to sell, making sure that you haven't left any stone unturned, that the systems are working, and you're not having to make excuses as to why things are the way that they are. And then just be careful that somebody's not going to try to take advantage of you with some sort of scam. Yeah,
very good. So I know you offer services that can be very valuable. So talk about kind of the type of people that you're willing to help, and then we'll get into 3 simple ways that you can help them if they're interested.
Yeah. Here at the dealership, we deal mainly in outboard powered boats and really saltwater oriented boats in our area. And we love getting boats on brokerage or consignment. And typically we're looking for boats that are 10 years or less old, that are in good shape. They don't have to be perfect, but in good shape, in nice condition. And we have, oh gosh, a number of boats we deal with. We're a high-end dealer for boats like Pursuit and Regulator, but other boats that we certainly would be very actively seeking to sell: Boston Whalers and Grady Whites, you know, all sorts of different style boats, dual consoles, center consoles, cabin boats. We do a fair number of outboard powered cabin boats also. We sell bay boats, very, very popular type of boat these days are the bay boats. There's Skeeter and Crevalle that we handle here, but Robalo and Scout, they're very, very popular too. High-end boat, Everglades, very well-built boat. Got Contenders and Edgewaters and Sea Rays, Yellowfins, Pathfinders.
And one of the things, Barton, that you can tell me if this is true or not, but because you sort of specialize in this segment in the Jacksonville area, you probably have a good-sized database of people that are looking for these types of boats, that if somebody came to you and said, hey, we've got this boat for sale, do you have a buyer? It's likely you could look through your database and find a handful of people to give a ring to.
Absolutely. We have a database with literally hundreds and hundreds of people who've come in the dealership. We not everybody who comes to the dealership is looking to buy a new boat. In fact, it's probably just the opposite. Far more people who come here looking to buy good quality used boats because of the price point. So I would it's very important for us to have a selection of quality used boats for people who are not new boat buyers. We have the database. We're reaching out to those people all the time, so we can put them in the database with exactly the style and the manufacturer that they're looking for. So if you bring your boat to us and want us to sell it, we might have a ready-made list of 20 or 30 people that we can reach out to immediately and ask to come over and take a look at the boat.
Perfect. So let's talk about the 3 simple ways that you can help them. Talk about the pinpoint price analysis and some of the tools you have that can help people out there looking to sell?
Yeah, that's a great point. We, obviously being able to understand what the market is on the boat, seeing where these boats are selling, looking at book values, and book values are important because the banks a lot of times will base what they're going to allow a buyer to borrow on that boat. So you have to have the boat in line with book values. But obviously, being able to go in and look at the marketplace, look at resources that we have to better understand what the value is, so we can pinpoint the price of the boat, where it should be, what we should be asking, and then where the boat is likely to sell. And we are very good at zeroing in on a very close number, so we have that advantage. We go through the boat. We do walkthroughs of the boat. We get them online with lots of pictures and videos, and we want to make sure that we understand the boat, that we know this boat stem to stern, so we can talk intelligently about the boat with prospective clients. You don't want to stumble through that. You need to know your stuff when it comes to the boat. We've got a lot of experience. We know boats, we know them inside and out, how they're made, how they perform, the good and the bad.
Yep.
And then, for the right client with the right boat, if you're in need of getting a boat sold quickly for whatever the reason might be, then we certainly would potentially look at buying the boat outright from you. A quick way of getting you out of the boat if you're moving and it's just time to go. You've tried to sell it yourself. You could bring it to us, and we could put a cash price on the boat for you, and do that in relatively short order, say 5 days or so. We're not going to be able to give you retail. Obviously, we've got to be able to take the boat in at what we think is a fair number that gives us a margin, so we can make a little bit of money on the boat and be able to retail it at a fair price to the public.
Yeah, so I think you've given some incredible information for those that, hey, you know what, I do want to get the most out of the boat. I'm willing to spend my time and effort to do it. They can certainly sell their boat faster now for a higher price. If you're looking to trade, I think you've given some ways to get people to spruce up their boat so they're able to get the most for it. And certainly, if you want to look at the consignment or the brokerage opportunity and using a professional, you can give Barton a call. His phone number is down below, and give him an email, boats@yamahamarincenter.com, and they can certainly get back to you, set you up with that pinpoint price analysis, the bow to stern review, and like you said, if it's a make sense thing for you, maybe even make a cash offer and just see what it looks like, see if it's an opportunity that is of interest. Well, hey, Barton, I appreciate you so much. I know you're busy. I know you've got a bunch of boats transactions that you're probably working on right now, and helping the next client buy their boat and sell the other one. So any last words that you have for folks?
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for talking with me, and we're here to help in any way that we can. We've been doing this for a long time. We'd love to speak with you and help you with whatever your boating needs are. So feel free to contact us. We'd be delighted to speak with you.
Very good. Thanks a lot, Barton. Take care.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.